What is up, guys? Ohayo gozaimasu. Anaki desu. Yoshiruko. Onegaishimasu. Yes. Learned some Japanese at the anime convention this weekend. That's about the extent of it. Waiting on Viz. We can have. Well, actually, it looks like Manga Plus has the chapter. So what I'll probably do is wait a bit until some people get in here. Hey, my boy Ryan. All right. So yeah, wait a little bit. It's up on Manga Plus already. It is not up on the official Viz website, which is an odd thing. They really should figure out how to get all of their accounts synced. Let's see. Ooh, chapter 261. I just saw the title. It's called High Ends. That's kind of stressful. Hey, what's up? All right. Hey, I'm sending the link as soon as I'm done reading the chapter. Don't worry, East. You already know. I actually got it preloaded in the church. All right, so you want a Manga Plus. Let's see. Should I read it on Manga Plus? Nope, it's on Viz now. All right. So yeah, Viz.com. I'll real quick send the link in the chat in case anybody's needing it, even though I'm pretty sure everybody already read it on their phone and is just waiting for me to read it. All right, let me pull this up. Oh, by the way, based on the timestamp, we have a break next week. What I'll be doing, East, I know you read Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm thinking about doing Jujutsu Kaisen live reaction next weekend. Let me know if you're down for that. I think that way, still got something for the stream. You know what I mean? Read it right now. All right, let's go. Opening page is Mirko, which automatically is terrifying. Hey, we got Florian in here. All right, let me focus up real quick. 261. Chapter title, High Ends. See, it's high ends plural, which is how we know it's about to be tragic. All right, let me keep going. Oh, snap. Hold up. We see the door flying, John Chan squished. Oh, see, look at that. They're almost gonna try to make us feel bad for this guy, like the old man. Good boy. Well done, Johnny. Like, see, he couldn't raise his own actual nephew with love and affection, but John Chan gets it. Your bottomless curiosity and pursuit of knowledge are always such a boon to me. Oh man. As you see, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, my dear friend. Oh my God, you're just watching his factory get annihilated. See, okay, so this is one of those things that I like, is that Horikoshi fully believes in using the power of love, emotion, friendship, flashback moments for villains, where we see him, just thinking about his bond with All For One here, and the depths of his fanboyism and his love of the dude. And this is the thing that's about to more than likely lead to Mirko getting, oh man. No. Yep. Guys, I found the old fart and a bunch of tough looking Nomu. Don't know, but a good cook should tell me. Capture him. All right. Oh man. Okay, so we got high end falling off the test tubes, not looking ready. Let's see, capture him. I wish I could say we're right behind you, but all right, so they just have to cook some Nomu. It might take us a minute. Oh, lordy Lord. It's a fire. It's a lot happening here. These flunkies keep popping up all over. Hey, Mandalay, is the hospital evacuated? Yes, we just got the last patient out. Hold up, Lock Rock on deck. See, you see, Lock Rock, he's actively dodging a Nomu attack. I'm tired of y'all sleeping on my boy Lock Rock because of the fact that Toga managed to finesse him by using a doppelganger and stealth. That's some bull. Y'all need to stop hating on him. Hey, thank you. I'm glad you like the stream. Man, bro. This is all right, and we see multiple Nomu corpses. This is we actually out here. I see you. Thanks for the details. Crux is on his way. Past a room with a bunch of tubes in it too. All right, look to see those ones are empty. Each of these small rooms is a storage chamber, a passageway. It must lead up and out, so the morgue isn't their only route. All right, so now we know that there's possibly them getting flanked those possibilities are in here. Ooh, let's see. Oh, you see a bunch of skittering thing. All right, we're about to get. Forgive me. Oh, kashink, shink. All right, so he's scale. Is he scaling up? Hold up. Forgive me, pitiable foot soldiers, but I must defeat you. I must apprehend the root of evil that lies ahead. You the real one? Let's find out. I am. I'm the real one. Better give you a good kick to be sure. Yeah, right. The high-end Nomu, like the one Dabi used. I don't think I'm ready for this next page. Woo! Okay. No, impossible. These other little ones haven't even reached the testing phase. What I wouldn't give for another half a day. If only Dabi hadn't failed to retrieve Hood's body. Manufacturing more without all for one around is no small feat. Small feat, and she's about to kick him. Ha 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 ha. He's got something in his hand, and she's coming to kick his head in. It looks like it took little Hood 10 hours to stabilize once activated. They should be strong enough in a pinch like this, but oh boy. Kick what? Mocha? Yo! So the cat with the ears on his head just pulled a nice little swapperoo here. The one's got the double quirk. A true miracle, using your quirk without even being told to, and you did it to protect me. Yo. Using your wait, what? Hold on. So wait. Let me get this right. Pulled up another one in front of her. Okay, so we're getting multiple. Okay, so this might be like the second or third doppelganger. All right, got it. Cool. Riddle Mocha, your courage wasn't for nothing, and you did it to protect me. Oh. Wait a second. All right. Ooh. So she kicked the top mouth off of that thing, but she got some Piper Perry vibes going on right here, bro. I don't know. Oh boy. Ooh, is that supposed to be a mox? Ooh, a mox bead. All right. Oh shit. Okay, threw her into the hole. They're already talking. Come on now. Already? Hero. Been so long. Hero can go wild. Hero. Ooh, kill them all. Let's go nuts. Mirko, I'm not sure about your rank, but I know your crust. A talking Nomu. Correct. How astute. I'm sorry I couldn't give you enough time, but I leave this to you, my high ends. You think you're getting away, you old fart? Whatever things are only just heating up. Oh boy. All right, East. Let me get you in here, East. Let me get you in here. Because man. And see, okay, so here's the thing. That knowledge out the tube, coming out here telling me I know who's who. What that lets us know is that his definition of ready for the high end isn't the same as necessarily our definition of ready. He considers, I think we got to interpret this as like high end was like Hood Chain was being interpreted as, all right, I'm testing this one out. This one didn't make it past. This is like a good beta test. This intelligence level is not where like Hood's intelligence level wasn't where the doctor wanted it to be. Whereas now these high end, with their awareness, their ability to be like, yo, obviously I'm the corpse of a pro hero. I recognize you from back in my day. See, because these word choices, man. So some of these, we know that some of these dudes are going to be obviously made from villains, right? But the thing is that while, yes, some of these guys, what's up, East, dudes are villains, without question, some of these guys are professional heroes. And I think that's where the like hero obsession is like stemming from. Like some of these guys, like this weird shape head this dude got. Like, for all I know, this could be a Crimson Riot Nomu, right? Like, I don't.
Yo, everybody is hyped up about that nigga, and I will understand why. Because this nigga, look at his legs. Go back to panel. Look at his legs. He the only one modified. Like, you know how Deku has his like air grip gloves that go all the way up his arms. This nigga got his legs just built just like that. Like, he the only one I seen with that even type of different body modification compared to the rest that look just biogenetic. Like, bro, he got gear on his fucking body.
Duh. Like, and the thing is, bro, first off, all of the designs for these are actually pretty good. That Majin Buu, like, nod in that one design, but
he was just having fun. He taking Dragon Ball Z, Evangelion.
Like, the thing is, like, these high ends aren't ready, but like they're smarter, right? So each one was a single villain by itself. These aren't throwaway monsters. Exactly. The amount of like coming out with like the idea of, all right, I know who you are. It doesn't matter what your rank is. I recognize you. I know, like, that. All these Nomu are like a step above where they used to be, and you got to kind of look at this as the Nomu. I actually wanted like a sentient Nomu plot, and it made even more sense that we would get once the Kurigiri reveal happened. But this leads to, as the Metal Liberation Army expands, can some of the Nomu get to a point where they're like, yo, like, from a liberationist perspective, we want to be free. We don't want, like, to be programmed. You know what I mean? Like,
I had that theory. I asked that question a while back on Twitter. I was like, how do y'all see like a Ultron version of a Nomu coming to be in this fruition? Because it's completely possible, and I'm I'm about 90% sure that was some shit like that what happened. But now seeing these motherfuckers, I'm like, okay, I'm 100% sure. Down the line, we'll get a sentient Nomu that has different ways of thinking than rather just follow Ujiko's orders, especially Ujiko not around, given how these motherfuckers. Let's get to the topic at hand. Motherfuckers been casting Miro into a coffin since Friday, since last week, technically, to be honest. But this chapter, for some reason, let us explain that. If you pay attention to Hori's details, how he set up before, that fucking Mocha-chan was set up perfectly when they were first talking about Ujiko 2 chapters ago, when he said, "Look at it." Not Ragdoll, but one of the Pussycats was like, "Look, it's a mini nasty little gnome." And I was like, "Yeah," but if you look closely, you can see it wasn't John Chan from the beginning.
Yeah, no, like I said, it was the cat Nomu with noses for ears. So it's like,
and paying attention to John Chan was surely he was only connected. John Chan could never leave the lab.
Yeah.
If you look at every single panel John Chan is in, he's connected to the wires in the laboratory.
I'm actually amazed anybody missed that. It was very poignant. It was borderline emphasized.
This is my main thing. People cast Miracle to the coffin. Ain't nobody said she had to kill all of their high and normal. You can literally fail and not get the doctor. Like, who said she had to get the doctor in the first place? People like it's like, bro, he literally said, "I'm sorry I couldn't give you more time." Like, he's not trying. Like, he's trying to get away. That's his main objective. He's trying to get the fuck away. He's like, these niggas are nowhere near finished, nor near complete. He didn't even want to use them in his last ditch effort. They had to take another scare just to get him to actually use that shit. That's how you know the motherfuckers ain't nowhere near ready. But people are like, no, she did. I'm like, I'm like, everybody in the comment section that say Miracle dead, tell me at least 2 of her super moves. And tell me how exactly she fight. Oh, well, you can't, because we ain't seen shit from her yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like she kicked off, like, you can see the teeth and everything. Like, Miracle ain't been playing. She hurting people out here. I don't know who made her support item, but it's effective. Like, it's effective. And I think that's the thing that I think, okay, because like I'm looking at all this, I'm like trying to take this all in. This is like this chapter set up. One, I like the fact that, like you've been saying, like, the girls were gonna get focused. And so here we are. We got like a fight that's definitely being structured more around Mirko. The fact that she can just kick one of their heads off and manage to break multiple legs. Because, like, the thing is, you notice that one kick that takes off that dude's head also ripped through somebody's fingers. So like she's kicking through people's hands, faces, like the amount of force that Mirko can generate. She's the people who wanted Deku to intern under her. You're right. Like the gains he could possibly make in his like kicking form, astronomical. But
who we really need is Froppy on that.
Either Froppy or so here's the thing. I don't think Mirko's dying here. She could be, but I think she's getting like severely injured. She might be one of the last people and like maybe lose a leg. I think that's where her angle is kind of set up, where she's probably going to end up being maimed versus murdered. What y'all feeling? Yeah, the break next week. So here's the thing. On one hand, it's a break, and I don't like taking breaks from my hero. On the other hand, when the next chapter drops in 2 weeks, he's had a break. It's probably going to have like a couple extra pages, maybe an extra double page spread. You know, like the chapter is going to come. Like I can't see him coming back with anything less than just like pure heat.
Like anything less, he don't come back with like 16, 17 pages, and it's going to be nothing but hands thrown.
Like it might be that. And it would make sense. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if that's like we come back and it's just straight up Crust versus like Crust and Mirko taking on the high ends. We see maybe like a little bit of the wrap up of like what's happening there, but like it looks like they have mid-grade Nomu even at the like coming out the cut. Because if you remember what he said, he goes like the previous Nomu, the one that All Might fought, was technically a mid-grade Nomu. It's important to remember that Endeavor fought a higher graded Nomu than the one from USJ. I think a lot of people forget that. And so
that again?
Endeavor fought a high end.
Move your hand how you just did.
That's the people forget that.
Okay. Somebody in the gym going plus ultra. Okay.
I actually been lacking them.
Think we didn't peep that, y'all. We saw that. Hey, tell y'all we saw that.
Oh shit, that's funny. Nah, so like, but the important thing though here is that Endeavor and them are fighting effectively like the All Might USJ level Nomu. It looks like so. Lockrock and them are. If it takes them a while to get here, it makes sense. You know what I mean? And it also kind of highlights how building that particular mid-grade Nomu though was only effective against All Might because he was designed to take on All Might. Like because there were so many quirk factors applied to counter All Might. That's the only reason the mid-grade even really stood a chance because they've been kind of bodying these things.
Yeah, because it's easy to find a big body nigga, or basically they built him up to be big body, but his main thing was his shock absorption. That's how the only reason he was competing with All Might. And plus he had the strength too. It's easy to create strength, but you know, strength isn't the only factor when we talk about quirk matchups. That's another reason Mirko has a high shot at least taking out another Nomu. And like, I'm like, come on, another high. I'm like, bro, first of all, she got backup. She not alone. Crust is literally right there. Second of all, she don't have to fight straight head on. You know, people, I don't think we was arguing like kids, sir. I'm like, I don't know why you niggas keep on we highballing her. I'm like, nigga, why y'all lowballing her?
That's the thing, is that it's weird. Like, I think there's like a certain disconnect, right? And it's caused specifically by All Might. Like, when you think about how big All Might is, like mentally inverse to like everybody else, it's hard. And then like you see like Endeavor, we're like, well, Endeavor, like it's always like Endeavor is nothing compared to All Might. Like Endeavor is like nothing compared to All Might. But it's like, yeah, but one of the things that like as we like watch Endeavor act, we got to realize that like some of these other dudes are just as crazy. Like you got to think Edshot's folded body moves at the like hypersonic speeds. Like it's straight up stated he can do that whole like flattening himself, like moving his like the sheet piercing at like hypersonic speeds. So it's not like the top 10 heroes are slouches. Like they just haven't gotten a lot of like shown. It's kind of like how in One Piece, like you get all this like hype and you don't necessarily always see them fight. But it's like, except in the case of the top 10, it's like you've seen every top 10 hero when they pull up and we see them do like a single attack or action. It always has impact. Like when Mirko showed up, it created like the giant storm cloud, like or the dust cloud. Like it was a pretty powerful smash attack. And then so like we've had showcasing for why like we should be able to respect Mirko and expect her to be able to take on these mid grades, especially if they're not designed to counter her. And the other thing is, let's be real here, All Might having so much power makes him a less technical fighter to a certain degree. So like Mirko came through, fought like all these mid grades and did a bunch of headshots. All Might is out here doing body shots and all kinds of stuff against Nomu, who like have a slight regenerative quirk. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's my thing. I'm like, bro, y'all gotta fact people like as much as y'all want to factor in Endeavor being the number one and him being older and more experienced. This same shit applies just because he's more experienced. Don't mean a damn thing. Because like she's 26, she's 27. She got experience. She been in the hero. She been training since she was like in middle school. And she's top 10 for a reason, top 5 for a reason. She's literally been out here. She has experience. You don't think she ain't fought somebody physically stronger or somebody physically faster? There's many quirks that there is in this world. This girl been doing this shit for like 10 plus years.
Exactly.
And she thinks she fought like multiple people.
And Mirko's not one of those people who has like one of those, oh, she's got the peak of quirkhood. She's got like one of those top tier quirks, bro. Like that's not who Mirko is. Hey, tarnish out here. Mirko has a bunny quirk, bro. Like a bunny quirk. If you're a top 5 hero with a quirk as simple as you get rabbit buffs, which means extra sexy thick legs and like the ability to kick hard, then you kind of got to be really good at what you do. And I think there's a certain disconnect. Like there is a disconnect between how good these people have to be with their like more or less mediocre quirks. Like Best Genius, like Fiber Master is not like the quirk you think of as like, oh yeah, that'd be somebody who's like top 5 in the country. But Best Genius proved it, and even like All For One acknowledges that he's so skilled with his quirk that it kind of makes up for the lack of raw power within it. And so people really got to start thinking more and more about like how technique and skill matter and like practice does within the context of My Hero Academia. Because even you look back at like what Bakugo says to Shoto when earlier in the work studies arc, and he's like, oh, you're going to rip off my explosion. He had already like Bakugo already processed that. Like if he's using jet propulsion, he's effectively using condensed fire. He's basically using like AP shot explosion effects to propel himself. Boom. Because Bakugo already has that quirk, and that because he has that practice with that skill, he recognizes when somebody's effectively doing the same thing. So these like interpretations of abilities are constantly being brought up throughout the series to a degree that it's like, hey, yo, like you can't just keep being like, oh, they're not All Might, so they're not going to be that strong. You got to really think about the way these characters interact.
That was another point of Pro Hero to showcase that the top 10 are out here and they can do what they can do. I don't know why niggas keep trying to say compare everything to All Might anymore. All Might been referenced as a fucking cheat code within the story. They acknowledge this nigga is Superman. So holding anything to All Might is the dumbest thing. It's the dumbest thing at this point. Still is like, bro, that nigga been out the game for like over almost 200 chapters now. Like,
yeah.
Please stop. He's been said as a cheat code as a guy. Even like Endeavor Agency art literally. That's what the fuck Endeavor was even talking about. Some of us can't do how he does, be like that. So we have to work twice as hard, etc.
Yeah, like you have a direct conversation where somebody goes, yeah, like more or less, All Might's a cheat code. He's really strong, and the best we can do is like layer one skill on top of the other, after the other, after the other, and create like results based on effort. Like that's all we can do. That's why his name is Endeavor. Like he's literally the man who's like can't give up. He has to keep trying. I play a lot of competitive Pokemon, and a lot of Pokemon are top tier because of the utility. Yeah. Like there's what is it? Dunsparce. That was really good in the gen it came out because you could just spam, like drop it and do like setup moves. Or you have characters that you throw them out there and all you do is throw like toxic on somebody, throw out some like steel caltrops, and then anytime somebody does a Pokemon swap, it gets like hurt, and every time they get like come in, they just get hit with toxic. And they just sit there and take damage. Yeah, like that's a real thing. So the idea that like people need to be like high DC to be good is huge misconception.
Yeah. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say two things. We're gonna get to that. We should get to the questions in that chat because I think they got some good things. But I want to say something real quick. And plus, our coach has been playing a lot of Pokemon Go lately. I think Oda was just talking about how he gave.
Yeah, they swapped Rayquazas.
Yeah, and shit like that. I'm like, bad shit. But yeah, look, listen. Tell me when y'all see any tell me when y'all seen any Miracle super moves because I haven't. I mean, tell me when you seen what her max capability was, because I haven't. If you read those chapters, you know what I'm saying, like the extra chapters that I didn't see, you can let me know. But
And that's the thing, right? My Hero Academia is literally a series that was like named attacks matter. Like, as an anime manga community, we understand that like when people use the named attacks, they're using their best attacks. It's a trope, but like within My Hero Academia, it's not a trope. It's a real thing. Mirako has just kicked people. She has not used any ultimate moves. She has not done anything yet that was like, yeah, this is how you put people down for good. So until we start seeing, you know, more of that, like she starts calling stuff out, then we can get worried if she's not like putting people on a shirt. But until we see that, we got to kind of assume that, yeah, she's going to struggle in this fight. But the fact that she was able to take one of them out while 5 of them were jumping her actively is a really good sign that even if Mirako goes down here, she's not going down without taking down a couple high end. You can argue that the one she, like, based on depending on whether or not the one she kicked the brain off of gets up or not, whether or not she can actually put him down, and then that'll give you an argument for it. But otherwise, like, we gotta acknowledge the fact that she's out here putting her feet through teeth. So,
and don't be comparing. Look, let's the breast where it gets down to. Do not compare these high ends. Somebody made a good point in the chat too. Don't compare these high ends to Hood-chan at all.
You can't.
He just said these niggas are nowhere near ready, not even in testing phase. They didn't even get to stabilize. They just came straight from. Just because they can talk and swing doesn't mean the damn thing. If Hood-chan took, who knows his monsters, literally said Hood-chan took a whole 10 hours just to stabilize and shit. And there's other shit. I'm like, listen, y'all don't need to, y'all just copping out, like y'all not paying attention to the details. He literally said, I'm sorry, couldn't give you more time. What you think that means? Well, I know you're gonna main these motherfuckers, but you know what I'm saying? You know, I know you're gonna be perfectly fine. You at 100% health. Why the fuck would he say that?
Yeah, no.
If Hood-chan was at his testing phase at that. These niggas ain't even nowhere near their testing phase. So it's like, they're not at full strength. We don't even know they have their quirk, what quirks they have, if they even have like anyone besides their first quirk. That's quirk matchup 101. You seen the first one, Chuck Mirako, but just cause Deku can punch dumb hard doesn't mean fucking Kirishima can't knock the nigga out with a punch.
Oh yeah.
Just strength doesn't equal durability. So that's another one.
I definitely think that the fact that it's currently looking like 4 high end versus 1 Mirako, depending on what Crust does here, is they're gonna show us, like, for example, we might get emphasis on Crust versus this high end, and if that happens, then yeah, Mirako's probably dead. If Horikoshi takes the time to cut to Crust versus this single high end, and we see a high diff fight, then yeah, all right. We got to just assume that when we see Mirako next, she's going to be laid out. And if that happens, all right. But right now, I think we got to accept the fact that there's a certain degree of impulsivity. Like, one of them was like, kill them all, let's go nuts. Like that, like bloodlust, like persona, that amped up personality could lead to conflict between like the way the high end decide to fight. So if she can utilize that, then, you know, kind of play the opponent against itself. I'm not saying that that's how it's going to go down. Just got to, you know, like factor in the variables here and how these interactions overlap.
Yeah.
See.
But let's get to the MVP of this chapter. I never had a problem with him. Honestly, he was talking shit. I understood where he was coming from, but it's just that he got laid out so quick and hard that he got that, you know, it's like, okay, you was talking about that shit, nigga. But, you know, I see where he was coming from. But we're going to put respect on the MVP this chapter. Lockrock, who had like 4 high ends blocked off, it was helping out 4 niggas at one time. It's still dodging. Come on now. That nigga was on point.
Yeah, like, it also, like, spread. Actually, let me look at the spread again, because it was actually, like, you got Endeavor, Flash, Fire, and something. See, and like the thing is, you got people in the air, people jumping, people like this is like Hori is doing like a lot of these like crazy spread like war type panels, and he's capturing like the idea of like the amount of discord that goes in. President Mike is actually in the background firing off a shot. It's
fucking crazy, dog.
Yeah, like the amount of detail, like the fact that he even took the time to bother with like drawing stuff on like the hospital board instead of just leaving it as like a blank board, which he could have done and nobody would have cared, is actually pretty intense. Like the details that go into this.
It's pretty hoary. That's what it is.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You did not tell a lie.
Pretty fucking hoary. Isn't it? And you know this nigga be going dumb. It's like what it's like the fourth fucking cover page we had.
Bro, yeah, like this. Okay, this cover page though also is top notch.
Like nigga, you know because it's been a long ass time since he ever did it. He did a cover page. But you know this nigga, it's like the fucking fourth one back to back. This nigga has done. This nigga going OD crazy.
Nah,
I'm scared to even cut to it.
I need these color pages. I need that color page drop in the middle of the war. That's what I need.
Yes.
Exactly. Horikoshi does not waste panels. Yeah, I was looking at that. It looks like Endeavor's like launching punches to somebody else, and they're bouncing like the attack back to like try to take down more Nomu. The thing is that everything we heard about like provisional license, about team ups, about how and like the super move stuff, about I got to make sure every different people know your super moves. All these little school aspects are really about to come into play here with the adults, because the fact that we got Endeavor out here like firing attacks through actually what I think is happening is if you read Bleach, Ukitaki's Shikai allowed him to like take attacks, and then as he took in projectiles, he could channel them and then like fire them through and redirect. And I'm looking at it, and it's actually looking like Endeavor is shooting a flash fire fist through a Nomu. The guy is catching it, channeling it, and then bouncing it back to somebody coming up from the top right of the fucking like center right page next to the dude with the whippy arm, top center. So yeah,
probably the greatest one of the greatest things that's coming out of this war.
The pro hero respect. The pro hero respect.
I think one of the greatest and most wholesome things I should say is coming out of this. Especially for that 3-month skip. Mm-hmm. The light down was going to slap for that shit.
Okay, that's something that I was thinking about. Is that if we have confirmation that there's supposed to be like 10 movies coming, and we just skip 3 months, we can throw so many little like work study movies out there where it's just like, well, this is like the kids during the work studies that we didn't talk about. Boom, we skip 3 months. We have like a huge amount of material that we can kind of wiggle stories out of. And I know you always like talk about, oh man, fuck that movie, it's not canon type vibes. But in this case, we can actually have meaningfully like canon stories that actually make sense to, have within the canon of My Hero Academia out of the movies.
Well, for the movies, I don't mind them. I don't ever mind the movies. It's just don't get it twisted that it's just canon, because especially with this latest one, that will blow you for a damn loop. If you think this is canon, you won't be doing drugs.
So like it's weird. The thing is that we know 9 is canon. We know certain stuff about it is canon.
But that's the thing. Rory said he done with these movies.
Oh yeah. That's why, like, I think especially after this one you can argue, because based on one of the things that I saw, I think it actually does take place a bit during work studies arc, based on how it looks. I saw one of the moves I saw. So from that perspective, some of it will actually make sense as just, shit that happened during their work studies that we just don't talk about in the manga because it's not relevant. Like the first movie though, that one doesn't really make sense because like that shit should have been talked about. Like they should have been like, so what was up with that like double father-son smash with you and All Might? I'm opening up my eraser finally.
Have you seen all the movie spoilers or no?
I've seen a good chunk of them, but I'm still gonna go see it.
Did you see the ending?
Yeah. So like that's the thing, is that for that to work, we gotta we're gonna have to talk about that when the movie come out.
Yeah, they gotta talk about it.
Because I got a stream. I'm planning on doing a stream for that anyway. But see, if Ujiko has All for One's quirk replicated, then I gotta ask: is the surgery he's giving Shigaraki more or less designed around making his body ready to take it? Because if that's the case, then like it makes sense that going this hard, doing all this. But if it's just him becoming like a Nomu and he can regenerate better, then I don't see why it's like that crazy.
I'm pretty sure it's definitely like I'm pretty sure Offline is giving Shigaraki his quirk.
Yeah.
Offline stuff. He said that's his successor. I
I
don't
lo-
think he just. I don't think he give him like a copy of that. Like those quirks. I don't think that shit could be copied. Like
Bro,
it's too specific and special. Just to be like, okay, I made a copy of their quirk.
somebody pointed out that Dobby failed Ujiko, and I'm gonna just point out that Dobby been mid. So like, are we really surprised? Like Dobby been mid out here for a minute. So I mean, all we can really do is expect him to fail.
Yeah. Okay, and everybody in the comment section, listen. Stop asking about Dobby reveals. It is not. Horikoshi don't just write shit just to write shit and have it as a big, oh my god, shock factor. Okay, it's really everything happening. All the shock is for the characters themselves more than us. So when Endeavor find out his dead son is alive, it's not just gonna be like just for the plot's sake or just like, oh my god. Of course we know because we have so much more info than these niggas do. Oh shit! There we go.
Yeah, dog. I got this, a Katakuri. I had to get the Shigaraki, bro. I had to. And that wall, I'm gonna have to put up a bunch of art. It's crazy. Bro, I got this crate, bro. When y'all see this shit, but nah. Okay, so the thing with Dobby though is that no matter what happens with this reveal, I don't think people need to like be so like it doesn't matter how long it takes to a certain degree because we know like we all have like our expectation for what it's going to be. And so instead, what I think people need to do, like you were talking about, is focus on the impact of the information. What is that going to do to Shoto? What is that going to, because the thing is that if Shoto finds this out towards the end of like getting better with Endeavor, that could easily erase like that progression within their character because it'd be like, wow, you like didn't make sure to know like that kind of like it's like my older brother is literally like one of the most wanted villains. And I have a League of Villains video that I'm gonna have to do some research for. I went to a panel and I found connections between some real life events in Japan and the League of Villains. And so I gotta do some research into that because of the fact that I think it is kind of what Horikoshi is going for in that department, especially because the League of Villains are kind of based around what would have been like the equivalent of Horikoshi's 9/11 experience as a child, because it would have happened when he was about 8 or 9, and it was around those times of gas attacks.
Oh, shit.
So, like the fact that the League of Villains is actually this giant terrorist organization that kind of does these horrible things is directly, and like their motivations are kind of directly tied to a terrorist incident to a certain degree that happened in Japan. So that was something I learned this weekend.
Yeah. I went back and I found a panel. And it was very kind of funny.
You better link that panel.
The foreshadow. It was when I'm rereading, so I'm rereading the series altogether. Mm-hmm. And it's funny that like there's so much stuff that's so much highly foreshadowed, like Stain and fucking Shigaraki being how Shigaraki flipped out of he wasn't stressing Stain about to kill him until Stain hit the father hand. That's when he was like, oh, you need to slow down, nigga. And then he had a little cut for it's so many brief glimpses and flashbacks and hints and panels to Shigaraki's backstory. This shit is crazy how fucking long ago this shit has been thought out. Like it's honestly insane.
I think like people tend to underestimate the amount of like foreshadowing that actually goes into My Hero. And I think it's mostly to do with the fact that, like I've always said, you can watch My Hero and be like, this is enjoyable without thinking.
Yeah, you really can.
Because let's take this chapter real quick. Like if you look at this chapter, here's the thing. Even if you don't think about the implications of like the psychological scaling of the characters, if you think about the fact that like these high-end seem to be more intelligent than the previous one. And so like even if you ignore like that aspect, if you ignore the clone usage, the fact that what's his name? The little one that we just got his name in the chat, Mocha. If you think about the fact that Mocha actually made the decision to help the doctor and more or less help save him, then from that perspective, this chapter, like even if you ignore all the sentience and like the implications that the Nomu are evolving and becoming smarter and smarter, even ignoring all that, you still have a chapter where you have like high octane, like someone trying to get into the action. You see fucking Crust having to go through multiple Nomu. You see like you get the action rush of like Mirko bodying like multiple clones and almost taking out the Doctor. Like you get so many different like reasons you can just enjoy this, like the spread with the high ends with the hands on the face of Miracle, like she's like kicking through their hands and stuff. Like that's all stuff that you can watch, like read and be hyped for and be like, dog, when this gets animated, it's going to be sick. Like you have all this stuff that you can be excited for without actually thinking about the implications of the world within My Hero. I think that's a good thing and a bad thing. It always will be.
Oh yeah, speaking of which, it's funny. Miracle, she said Dobby stinks, but what she was really talking about was that
the teleportation gunk. Yeah. Like I always think it's funny that she like blamed him for that. Like, wow, that fucking smelly weeb. Like that's just where she went. Like
nasty ass nigga. Oh yeah, but it's like, let me make my way to the panel. I remember what panel I just found. But then there was the All Might Death foreshadow since like before, like was it before Camino? I think it was before. It's like since the sports festival. Actually, it was like, but I don't know if I can tell you yet, or I don't think I'll be there to see that. Like,
he did. Yeah, he directly says that early in the series. People kind of forget about that moment. And like to me, that's the moment that makes it where like why All Might kind of has to die, right? Like people are always like, well, All Might doesn't have to die, and I'm like, yeah, but kind of does.
Yeah,
because it's just been so well structured within the series that it doesn't make sense for him not to at this point. And Florian just said his girlfriend watches MHA just to enjoy it, and she still loves it. So yeah, like you can still enjoy it without like overthinking it. Yeah, I just think that. I think you're missing out when you do that, but like you can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. And my thing is too is like, it's like all my dad's like, okay, listen, y'all come up to me and tell me some logical way, some plausible way that Shigaraki let All Might go.
That's that's the biggest issue. Like,
don't use location, don't use none of that shit. How is Shigaraki? He will find All Might. It's not that hard to find All Might. Nobody gonna be able to stop this nigga when he finished and complete. He's going to be finished complete, like it or not.
Shigaraki's not gonna kill All Might. Why? Why would Shigaraki let All Might live? Yeah. That's the question. Why would he do that on any level?
Like you can go all plot. You can go all plot. Well, All Might doesn't need to die for this reason. Now, no. Shigaraki said, "I'm going to kill this nigga." Been waiting to kill this nigga for I don't know how many umpteen damn years. Fuck, all for one ready for this nigga to kill this nigga. Like.
All for one was literally like, man, should I even be the one to kill you? Because like technically my homeboy here is supposed to do it. By the way, he's your master's grandson. Good luck with that. Like, come on, man. How y'all like out here just writing off everything Horikoshi set up?
Yeah, you're getting too focused and emotional over All Might. Y'all just like, well, you know what? He said he's trying to make a change with this, that, and the other. And listen, I don't want to hear nothing about changing the future with will, because if you want to apply that logic, use it. Keep the same energy with Shigaraki, who dismantled fucking Hanabata's fucking quirk. Really fucking amps people up. Trumpet's quirk, which really amps people up and gets them to do what he says, and it enhances their spirits.
Like, dude, straight up use Conqueror's Haki. Like, what you mean, bro? Like, what do you? It's like. When you said somebody said when I said I was putting together my eraser, they didn't realize I was talking about an eraser head statue. I didn't think about Mocha saving the day, but the Hyens being able to maintain a coherent conversation. Yeah, and that's the thing. Sentient Hyens sets up such an interesting premise for like where the story should or more than likely is going to land that I'm just excited off that alone, honestly. Like
Endgame. He wasn't lying about Endgame, My Hero being crazier than that fucking movie.
Yeah, because also thinking about it now, that also kind of supports my theory that Bakugo could end up being a high end later in the series. Because of remember, I was like, well, he could end up being one, and you would have him be like an intelligent Nomu that actually fought as a hero. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
with the My Hero movie getting rid of the super special, uh, you know, scene that
Moment.
Horikoshi considered using for the final moment of the manga. We gotta that could be on the table now. Like, yeah. So, which if Bakugo ends up being a high-end Nomu, because like the thing is, he's like such a character structured around like unwavering, like tenacity to be a hero, that I think that as we see like these dudes come out and they're like hero, like they've maintained their personalities going through here, and like that's the core of who Bakugo is. He's like this angry, explosive dude that wants to be a hero. So I just love the idea of them making him a high end, and it just being like one of the top 5 heroes is a high end. Especially with the creature rejection clan and people like that, the idea that these, quirk-based or discriminatory mentalities are pervasive or throughout society. You got people like Shoji, who's like, oh yeah, I'm used to people being afraid of me because he scared that girl when he was a kid. Or you got people like Tokoyami, who when you read school briefs, they literally meet a girl who's just like straight up afraid of him. Like,
yeah,
so it's kind of like you have these things that are kind of set up where you almost want more mutant, like weird looking people in the top 10. Like who is the strangest dude in the top 10? Washa Wash?
A fucking washing machine.
Like he looks like a washing machine, and like that, like Washa Wash feels like, yes, he probably has some combat competence, but he almost feels like that dude that's in the top 10 because he's a meme lord. Like it's
to
like
be,
when
to be fair, Gang Gorka just got pushed out the top 10.
And like, but Gang Orca is also considered the dude that looks third most like a villain. So if you think about it, Gang Orca falling out of the top 10 is potentially reflective of mutant discrimination within My Hero Academia.
But that falls back to Common Woods, because Common Woods is basically the one that kicked that nigga out.
Yeah, you could say that, but like, see everyone trying to transfer Bakugo top 2, but he not 2. Bro, hold on. I'm not slandering him. I'm not trying to tarnish your fave character. I'm trying to validate your fave character, bro. If Bakugo gets turned into a high end and he's still out here like, I'm saving heroes, moving, like saving cats, slapping heroes with his stretchy palm, explodey palms, like I feel like that's like the ultimate like pinnacle of him being a GOAT. Like I feel like he would definitely end up being more like Endeavor in that way, because it would be like, well, he'll never be like the most popular dude because he's a giant monster, but I mean, it's a good plot. It's a good plot line.
Well, actually, they're destroying Hero Society. So when they rebuild, this shit gonna be based off of feats and stuff. Now they ain't gonna do the same popularity bullshit. It ain't gonna be based off popularity no more. It's gonna be based off, yo, what did you do in the field? What's your stats looking like, nigga? That's what's gonna be based off of the real shit. Not no, I like him because he's pretty. I like him because he's nice. His smile's gorgeous. Nah, nigga. It gonna be based on what the fuck did you do in the field? Was you out here putting the work in or no? So with that being said, we're gonna talk about the number one motherfucker who really can beat, who can get Bakugo run for his money and beat Bakugo potentially, and can give, since everybody wanna be like, well, Shoto can use fire. I don't know how you get past his fire. Well, guess what? This man, the living whirlwind hurricane, can suck up and spit out that fire like it was fucking toothpaste, and he brushing his damn teeth. Yes, I'm talking about my boy Inasa. People sleep on.
Inasa's
right
number
there.
3. Inasa's number 3.
Like
if we look at top, like if we took like this current hero system and we made a top 5, it would be Deku, Bakugo, Inasa, Shoto, Ochako. That would be like the top 5 most popular heroes.
Oh, 5 most popular. Okay.
Like that would end up being the ranking. Like Ochako would probably be on a hero team with Deku, which would lead to her inflated ranking.
That's why I said when Ida step up and take over the Igni, you vigilantes read, so all the vigilantes really know how great Ignium is, especially with his company. Yeah. When Ida step up with Ignium, and he's like the tactical Iron Man of the team, but then you got Deku as the Captain America, and then you got Ochako out there too. Is like, now we really, really out here as the trio, a big trio.
And we just got asked if we think Uchiko is going to get away. I think Uchiko's getting away here.
100%.
I think he's got like a secondary John somewhere that's like a backup. And so essentially he's gonna run, get Shigaraki, and get out. And from there, Shigaraki's probably gonna have to like so what we're probably gonna get is people talk about how the overhaul arc is like one of the longest arcs. The overhaul arc also takes place within the span of like an hour and a half. But with this arc, we might be getting like the 6, 7, 8 hours of like straight up like Warzone stuff. Comparable to like a lot of the like it's similar to the way Marine for Destruction, where it's like there's one day and a lot of stuff happened on this day, or like it's like 2U in 2,000 years Shinigashina. Like this kind of like is the mentality you got to take, like what's going down and what's happening to these people. And so we're probably going to have like over the span of hours, like Shigaraki is going to be removed from this dangerous situation, but he is going to be taken out of the vial. So what we're going to be stuck doing is like waiting probably 4 hours for Shigaraki to awaken, stabilize, and then join the fray, enabling the villains to finally crush a good chunk of the hero resistance, but people seeing it coming because they notice like, you know, the amount of destruction and people, you know, communicating, hey, Shigaraki, we see Shigaraki, we have eyes on him, and then, you know, you get like the destruction thing. It's kind of like what if it's like the All for One when he came out and blew away Genus, but what you're going to get there is like a reverse of like, okay, fuck, this is all going down. And then it's like, boom, we lose complete contact with one of our platoons. Shigaraki's out. Like that's what's happening essentially. We know Shigaraki's out. He is here. One of our platoons is wiped out. I don't know which one. Maybe it's just like a small squad. Doesn't matter. Also, I'm going to ask the chat real quick. Do you think we're getting like Deku, Bakugo, Shoto, or like the kids versus at least the mid-grade Nomu? So basically like a USJ level 1, maybe not one with shock absorption so that they can like counter all the blunt force. But can you at least see the kids taking on these like some mid-grade Nomu at this point?
I want to chime in about this. Can I chime in?
Yeah, go.
Actually, what the plausible way to do this to even make it even cooler is since they have second years and third years with them, because you know this is MHA, not Deku. You know there are people that exist livingly in this world that can reasonably be like skilled as pro heroes. The big three are just the big three, the top ones, but that don't mean there aren't other relatable people. Like the big three in Class 1A is the most, you know, Deku, Bako, and Shoto. That don't mean Kirishima, Ida, Tokuyami, all ain't fucking top tier beast motherfuckers. So the same thing applies to the people in the year 3. So easily, since we've seen some of them, like some, I guess, you know, big 3, I mean, year 3s or year 2s that are obviously with Deku in them, that could be time for like, they just need like one high end show up or one like middle grade, high middle grade. And then they have that one, and then they can also have like how they did the Pro Hero. They can have the mini ones, like the white ones, going out causing havoc while they're trying to escort people out the city. So you got multiple people doing multiple things. Like, you know, everybody's like, and everybody's sitting around. So if you want to give the big 3 their time to shine, or they can have a mid grade while the other people step up, you got that shit. But you can have Burn fighting a mid grade no more white, where they're fighting white ones, other shit, doing damage control. There's so many ways that this nigga has set up. You don't know which way you can go.
So one of the things that like as even the high ends seem a little bit unstable, if I understand correctly, I think they could take one on. So somebody's betting on like them actually fighting high ends. They have to. There's too many Nomu around. Yeah, no, I expect them to like taking on the low ends at this point. I think we have to expect Bakugo, Deku, and Shoto to be able to fight a low end, right? The ones that just kind of show up, like the ones from Hosu City, without question, like those are like low to mids. They gotta be able to take those on at this point. Bakugo, especially because of like moves like AP Shot, is a very good Nomu killer by kit alone. He should be able to snipe Nomu in their brain. Just saying. We've seen him have like pretty precise aiming. The AP Shots DC is pretty good for eradication. So we should be able to see them take on some of these like mid or like low tier high end. I actually agree with that notion. I don't know if they can fight a high end, but at the same time, 3 of them against 1 high diff, yeah, I can see it. But also see it being 3-on-1 because people getting injured. I think the kids will maybe fight some of the advisor commanders. commanders, the ones who are in Gunga Village, and maybe we see Deku and Ko trying to maintain Nomu's while also evacuating like the license arc. We have to see something like that because of the fact that the license arc set, like the situation we're in is exactly everything that they've been told that they're supposed to be preparing for. So we kind of need to see them actually in the situations we're told they need to be prepared for. Otherwise, that's like useless knowledge. It's basically filler. If you want the story to like have meaningful impact, you got to make sure it all is cohesive and ties together. And hold on, welcome Sayez, all the way from Germany.
I've only just read the chapter, so I'm still, yeah.
So here's a cool story about Sayez. Sayez once took the time to try to binge almost all of My Hero Academia to win a debate with me that we had scheduled for a debate tournament in a Discord server. And then we watched like 10 episodes of season 3 together in Rabbit. So yeah, that happened. Sayez is a classic. She's been around for a long time. Everybody welcome Sayez.
Hi.
So, but like you just read it, so like, what was the big takeaway for you?
So far, I'm still kind of understanding what it means that the Nomu need this 7-hour period to stabilize, which I don't know what it means. Like part of me thinks it may be that when Endeavor fought the High End, after some time, the High End kind of lost the ability to speak properly again, and that maybe that is what they meant, but I don't really know. And other than that, kind of looking up for a Mirko Cross team up. And yeah, so far we don't really know what the other crews are doing, right? The other teams.
Yeah. So, all right. Do you guys think next chapter we're cutting away from the Doctor, or do we think we're staying there? Because I could see us like we have a stage set here where it's like, okay, you now know that the Endeavor group is dealing with a bunch of Nomu at the hospital. That's that particular battlefield. We can cut away to others to establish what's going on around the country now. You know what I mean? Especially with last week's chapter starting off with the 80 kilometers apart thing. So I don't know how you feel about that, Sayez or East. And Squid, you don't have to apologize. You showed up, so that's all that matters.
I mean, I understand that the Doctor is now going to flee. So, don't know where he flees to, but as far as I understand, this teleportation quirk that this Nomu can do is apparently only giving him the ability to teleport to other certain people. So the Doctor might teleport to another place where something just happens. And maybe we're going to see what they are doing, but I think it's time to learn what the other groups are doing, so maybe spend another half chapter or a few panels here, but then...
Yeah, that's the thing is that I think that just in general, it's time that we learn something more. But something that has bothered me about this whole time is why Uchiko never used John Chan to just pull off and went out of prison. Like that's been bothering me for a while.
Because they needed Shigaraki to grow. That was his point. It's like, okay, you could take him out, but it's gonna be the same thing again. It's like, okay, now I got my master back. Now you just rely on him. They needed Shigaraki to grow. That's what he said. He was like, learn from this experience and grow even further. So him just take, it's like, okay, this is what you literally need to. I'm a cheat code for you. That's like how is Deku going to keep growing with All Might there? He needed All Might to really relax. If All Might was going to keep being a hero, that would have hindered Deku. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, how to, because All Might would have been, more stuff, all the stuff wouldn't happen if All Might was still on.
I somewhat think there may be... Oh, sorry.
Oh, my fault. I was just saying, it's like, this was off from his plan. He already planned all this up. If I go away, he was like, he set all this up. He was like, Gigantomachia, everybody. He set all these fucking domino pieces up just in case he were to fall. His successor, he was like, this is what you need to grow. I can't keep babying you. He even said it to Alma. He was like, how long gonna keep babying him? That's gonna hinder him, man.
My thing though is that, like, that doesn't mean that, you know, the guy who literally changed his legal name to All for One's name is on that wave. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Yeah, that's All For One's plan and all, but I don't see why this dude would be like, yeah, I'm gonna go along with that.
And it's not All For One, right? I mean, they could also take Kurogiro out of First
Exactly.
Needs also. So maybe there is really some security mechanism that stops them from doing it. Because why they wouldn't take Kurogiri out, I don't understand. Because he seems like a big loss.
Yeah, because the thing that's like throwing me off about it is just, regardless of whether or not All For One can get out, we know that the doctor apparently works at, based on the data books, he's like such a trusted doctor that he's even allowed to do work at Tartarus. And so that's why it's kind of like, well, if he even works at the prison where All For One is at sometimes, there has to be something as far as like game plan wise as to why All For One is still in prison, regardless of just I want my student to grow. I don't see him, because like this is the dude that was like, he's like King Petty, right? Like he goes around, he does whatever he wants, and he's just like, well, I don't see why. What's the big deal? You know, like, I mean, there's no point in just staying mad about it. You know, hey, what happens, right? Case of buddy. And like All For One goes about his day. So the fact that he's just not like flexing on the prison right now is really baffling to me. Outside of the fact that like it seems like he's just waiting for One For All to mature more, almost. Since like he's making those comments about hearing his brother. What you guys thinking?
Maybe they are preparing for like a mass outbreak, but that would be. I mean, they have no plans been so far, right? At this point.
Yeah, like we have that, and I think that's part of why we like people are like, yeah, there has to be a prison break arc, because it doesn't make sense for like two teleporters to be sitting there. Even though I do think it's interesting that All For One has a form of teleportation that only allows him to move other people and not himself. Considering like how selfish he is, you would have thought that the artificial quirk of Kurigiri would have been worth copying or something at least. Or maybe it's because that it's an artificial quirk that he can't copy it or take it or extract it. I guess it's probably what it really is. Yeah, I think about that panel a lot. Like him saying he heard his brother was. I've always been curious about like what the implications and like how deeply All For One and One For All are connected. Because even regardless of like naming schemes and stuff, it doesn't. We don't like it's the only quirk we have that is connected to another one in such a interesting way that there's like a psionic link damn near. What do you think, East? I see you got your mic on mute.
Yeah, I'm back now. Y'all be checking the chat, man. Squid asking questions and other people. Where do we start with Squid?
Squid, see.
Yeah. Squid's talking about. Sorry, he's late. He said what he did. He like, did you know the incomplete high end have much slower region than Hood Child? Yes, we know that.
The thing about that is that I think as they stabilize, it's just going to increase, right? So it's a game of how fast can you kill them before it doesn't matter.
And we don't know how they're going to stabilize. I mean, it's easily like we don't know what they had to go through to stabilize to get out of the tank. It's like a little bit like rehabilitation. Like let's say you in a wheelchair for a long time, then you get back out the wheelchair. You still got to learn how to walk again and stuff like that. Like not your regular average wheelchair, but like you have like surgery or something like that. It takes more time to like get back and used to it. I mean, just because we can't just take that. Okay, they're sentient, they're talking for anything. Like like okay, this is what it means to stabilize. We don't. I'm pretty sure it means because he kept talking about how hard it was to put new quirks into them and stuff like that and build them. So I don't think the sentient. I don't think the brain part is hard.
See,
I don't think the brain part is the problem. I think more so the quirk.
Yeah.
The physical factor that should be a harder part than just their sentientness.
No, I first thought it, but now I'm kind of reconsidering because there's this panel where this one Nomu speaks really fluently, much more than any other Nomu I've seen so far. When he meets Crust, and he's like, "I'm not sure what your rank is, but I know you're Crust."
Yeah,
which is,
and so like that's the thing, right? Is that I understand that it might be like quirk stability, but I feel like these ones still come off as more stable. At least the one who like pulls up on Crust. Like the fact that they can like mentally be like, yeah, I want to like fight these ones. I want to do this. Like they have expressed will. And like, yeah, some of them are just like repeating like the word hero. And so it seems like I would think that because of the fact that they're more intelligent, they can more consciously use their quirks. Whereas I think like Hood-chan wasn't necessarily thinking about the way he was cycling his quirks for the most part. Like if you can actively concentrate and focus on your regeneration, can you make it better? You know what I mean? And then being intelligent might be a factor to that.
But that also goes back.
But you know, what were we gonna say?
Oh, that also goes back into like their bodies though, because we don't know how stable their bodies are to begin with. We can't want just because, like I said, that strength doesn't equal durability.
So no.
And their quirks, we don't know what the quirks could have backlash, or they got multiple quirks that could backfire, because we don't know the true science behind these motherfuckers. Or of course you want to put they're not ready, this and other, and have each go do it like a super duper last resort. Remember, the nigga got busted in on, and he was running away. He almost got kicked. Still didn't want to use the motherfuckers. Still didn't want to use it. Even complain about Darby not getting high end back. Hood-chan back. And then he was like, fuck, I literally got no choice. I'm sorry for y'all. I wish I could have gave y'all more time. Or of course you put the bit about them stabilizing. That has something to do with how she's going to get out of this. Because he wouldn't have put a bit about them stabilizing again. Because we could have just been like, okay, you know what? It takes a while for them to load up and stuff like that. He literally stated like 3 times about them stabilizing. It's like, okay, there's a reason he keeps saying about stabilizing. Get ready.
Yeah, like I think they do have to stabilize and they can't use maximum power. I'm just thinking that if the regeneration quirk is the one that you can think about at all, like I want to make it like more effective, whatever, then I think that to offset their physical stability, they might trade off power. But I think some of them, if you think like back to Bleach, like when Ulquiorra became an Arankar, he's one of the few that made it a point to consciously choose to keep his higher speed regeneration, even though it came at like the cost of like power. So I'm saying like we might, depending on how good the regen quirk is and how much, like quirk training or like conscious decision impact you can make with it, might be a determining factor in how they survive, even though they're not as, stable as far as like they're being able to properly utilize their power. Rather, I guess what I'm saying is some of them might be smart enough and use their quirks well enough that they are aware of what you're mentioning with the lack of physical stability and compensate for it by using the regeneration and playing it like a little more smarter and not going all out right away.
I mean, another possibility would be that the stability is not so much in terms of regeneration or in terms of physical stability or in terms of not being able to properly use their powers, but just how the quirks interact with each other. I mean, that seems to be the problem in putting multiple quirks in one body. So maybe it's just that the different strengths and quirks and weaknesses of the quirks kind of influence each other, and it's not quite stable here. So maybe they will be able to fully use one quirk, but not so much the other, or the quirks might attack each other.
Yeah, that's what I'm like thinking has to kind of happen here, and that's why I think the regeneration factor is going to play in. And at the end of the day, like the quirks are genetic material. It's not quite akin to getting an organ transplant, but I can definitely see your body more or less, especially rejecting certain quirks that are considerably out of the wheelhouse of what your body was initially built for. You know what I mean? Because like quirk body compatibility is already a discussion topic in verse. Let's see.
Yeah, Aoyama and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think, and then that might have something to do because like with the timing of this episodes and these chapters, that for all we know could be intentional again. Let's see. The high end was complete and didn't trade in anything. Plus, we are shown the region is slower when they're instabilized to see. It seems getting completed just means they're not 100% in all facets, no trading. Yeah, and I think they have to trade right now being unstable, or they might potentially have to. I don't know if destabilizing would only apply to the regeneration, though. That's the question, I guess.
Yeah, I think it would have to. I mean, I don't see why the regeneration quirk would be different to every other quirk. So I think it might be all of them, all the quirks.
But then at that point, we know that this is a matter of time, like I was talking about earlier with Shigaraki. So, I still think that like it might be a 4-hour thing, not even like a full 8 hours for some of them to get stable enough. But just because it doesn't, if we're gonna do that route, then that would mean that we're probably gonna lose all the high end here and the doctor here and like that whole aspect of his legacy, or we're going to lose that, and the Doctor's going to have to move into actually working alongside the MLA, which could be what's really happening here. Is it's an excuse for Horty to force the MLA to and the League to collaborate even further. Bringing the Doctor on board could lead to people who aren't compliant with the Liberation Society all being rounded up and then turned into Nomu, even though that kind of goes against the idea of liberation that they claim they wanted. You know what I mean? So if they start like kidnapping people and nomifying them because they don't support the liberation cause, I actually see that as something that the Paranormal Liberation Front would go for, especially because if you think about it, if you kidnap more people if you just kidnap people who are against your cause, then politically more people that agree with you will start speaking up as those people show up as high end or Nomu, and they start causing problems.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think there may be implications of not being stabilized. That is maybe when they try to use a quirk, it will cause some kind of heavy backlash to the high ends. That is probably another or the main one. The idea that high ends will just suffer massive backlash, kind of like Deku did when he was using One for All. So yeah, like broken bones type situation of feedback.
Yeah.
Oh no. And then let's see, I think we covered most of what this chapter is about. East, what's your chapter rating? Oh, see, East is gone.
Need you, man.
Who? What?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie though. It was tough though. I had to choose between 3 ratings, man. There was a 10 out of 10. That oh my god out of 10. And then the oh my god 10 out of 10. And then it was who let this nigga off? Who let this nigga go? Because he administered Psy out of 10. So then I came to the conclusion. Who let this nigga off the leash? He administered society. 10 out of 10.
You're right, Squid, but he said specifically, who let this man go? He's a menace to society. 10 out of 10. Sayas?
I give it a good 7. I liked it, but I think most of it is set up for. And I mean, it's really exciting what's going to happen, but it's not my favorite chapter, so I give it a 7.
That's fair. Squid, what you give it? Let's see if Squid actually is going to respond. Nah, I know Squid is. And I'm going with like around an 8 because I'm saving my 10s for the later in the arc. Specifically because I don't want people to be like, man, it doesn't count that you called this good moment a 10 because you call other moments 10. I'm like, no. I'll save that. You can't use that against me. Because then people be like, oh, no, you just gasped. I'm like, nah, bro. Actually, because like the thing about this like chapter that I like a lot is actually the artwork, which also we don't have any roundhouse kicks, so we don't have to worry about anybody complaining about seeing Mirko's crotch. We dodged the controversy this week, I think.
Nah, she bleeding.
Are you sure? I'm not sure.
No. She bleeding, right? Or misogynist.
You're right. He approves of beating women.
Or Jordan women get their ass whooped. That's what we finna see now.
Yep, you're right. Horikoshi can't win. It's gonna turn into he's a woman beater. You're right.
It's a hard job.
It is like the amount of like the hoops that people jump through so that they can like troll this man and try to claim it's justified is astounding. And Florian, 8 out of 10 because it was extremely enjoyable, paced well, amazing art, but it was most action set up number. Yeah, that's basically where my mentality is. It's like this gave me everything I wanted in a really good way, but it wasn't the United States of Smash chapter, right? It wasn't like when Shigaraki destroys the city and we see Gigantomachia crying, staring at the horizon. Like it wasn't those chapters, but it is a good chapter for me. Yeah. See,
I just want to say I'm really looking forward to seeing more of Crust now. And Mirko had like a few chapters now, and I almost forgot that Crust was even there. And
With
This,
Crust, I'm interested to see how his power really is gonna work in combat. Because I didn't expect it to be like him scaling up. So that already was a bit of a twist for me.
I mean, I did expect some sort of hardening quirk type from the name, similar to Kirishima, but this looks it looks different to what I expected.
Yeah, because he was kind of depicted like holding a sword and a shield, I thought. So I thought he was going to be, more like support item based, but it seems like he's got some kind of dragon scale quirk or something like that. Or it's more than likely what it's going to be called. I mean, he's number 6. So
yeah,
even if it's not that impressive, we like base as a quirk, it's going to be like the action and stuff we get out of him is going to be pretty high tier, I think. This one's huge. Also, the fact that Mandalay is like still not dead, I'm here for it. Because we as these Nomu, like all this stuff is happening, we haven't seen some on-screen like hardcore collateral damage in a while, and we know it's coming. So
I think it's going to be Mandalay, Paul Coda.
Well, I mean, her getting the hospital clear is like a good way to let this fight like start to elevate. But the real thing is that I'm expecting as more stuff happens is that it'll be like, cool, we saved the hospital. We got to start off with like some bit of optimism. Because if we look at the actual, like what's happening within the chapters, we have multiple reasons to be optimistic. If you look at the arc within a vacuum almost, like you can be like, oh yeah, the hero's like, we're getting a drop. It's all the previous stuff, like the context of the anticipation of Shigaraki that leads to all the, this is still building up. It's just a giant L. So like that in of itself is something that I think when we see the characters finally hit that realization point is going to hit way harder, because we're all like, you guys are going to suffer. And they're like, hey, look, we did it. I should be able to stop this guy out and we'll figure everything out and everything's going to be fine. Like there's like this certain level of optimism within the way the characters are interacting that it's being an actual manga reader who exists outside of the universe causes you to not be able to give them.
Yeah. I mean, when we start this whole arc with, and then the heroes all vanished, it's a bit of a bad omen.
Well, all of us were like, yeah, I guess a bunch of them died. Maybe some of them were kidnapped. This is crazy. And it's like, oh no, they're starting an operation. Oh, that works too. That's viable. Yeah, that makes sense. Heroes can also do things. Let's see. Shisui. Let's see what Shisui doing. All right, Shisui.
Hi.
Wait.
Hold on.
Okay. No. Shisui is currently reading some other stuff, so he'll be doing some stuff later. Apparently, okay, yeah. Okay. Shisui's actually behind, so he's doing a catch-up stream later.
He's behind.
Yeah, so that means we'll have to. I'll plug that catch-up stream later too. Woo. This man got to get it together though. All right. Yeah, you guys got anything else you want to add before? Because I think we covered all the bases of this chapter pretty well. And yes, that is Sayas. East says, you guys got any final thoughts before we close out?
Final thoughts? Shit. I just got to say, I'm pretty sure I know how it's going. Technically, you know how Hori likes to jump around, like take NBA for example. But this is what I even love, like not just like the how different the arcs are, like just like even the structure down to their bases is like there's multiple things happening, but it's only 2 things happening at one time. Think about this: the kids are just evacuating the city. That's something we don't need to see. You could do that on a cover page. I'm pretty sure nobody trying to see if it's not no action. I'm pretty sure nobody trying to see us cut away from Miracle and see the kids. Okay, you guys this way. There's no discourse. There's no build up to something that's gonna pay off later. As of right now, the kids are just evacuating. The raid team can't move because they need to stop Ujiko first. So I'm pretty positive we're not going to cut to the raid team because, and even we do, the only thing we cut to that would actually be anything interesting will be Hawks. But at the same time, Hawks can't really be contacted like that because he's being watched. So we're gonna finish up this miracle stuff. That's going to be the consistent heavy focus. If we switch to anything, it'd just be with Endeavor and them, seeing what they're doing, how they can come and be relevant. Because right now, nobody else is relevant. Their goal was take Ujiko out so the PLF can escape, and then we move in. That means everybody else is on standby until this direct thing happens. So they need to finish up what's happening with Ujiko before we go anywhere else. That's my thing.
All right. So you say we got to stay at the hospital. Says, how do you?
I'm getting increasingly worried that Ujiko might get away. I think staying at the hospital would be cool for Mirko and Crust. I think those two are now interesting. But to be honest, I kind of feel like with so many Nomus around, and also the weaker Nomus that are with Endeavor and Ayazawa at this point, it's kind of a brawl fight. So I don't know how that would be possible to put even on the chapters. Normally, I get the feeling that Horikoshi kind of tries dodging these brawl fights because they are not as exciting as the one we want. So either we should stay with Mirko and Crust, or we should move on, I think. And other than that, I think my favorite moment was actually when that Nomu recognized Crust, because at this point that seemed like the most memory any Nomu had shown.
Yeah, that's easily one of the most important moments to me. That's very easy to overlook. But the fact that, this dude was like, I know you. It's like, oh.
Yeah, and especially since he said that I don't know your rank, seems to suggest that he wasn't briefed or anything on Crust, he just remembers him.
Yeah, and depending on how long Crust has been a hero, I didn't see his age. I don't think we got it. This could be somebody, like, that's the thing, is that this could be somebody who was a pro hero like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That got turned into a high end. And so he's like, oh yeah, I remember you, but I don't know what your rank is anymore or I don't know like where your rank is because he wasn't even top 10 back then or something like that. So yeah. Anything else before I do my closing thoughts? Yes.
No, I think that was it.
Okay. But yeah, my final takeaway on the chapter though is that it is a good setup chapter. It does establish the eminence, and kind of one of the things that they'd always emphasize is how quick and efficient that the heroes try to be, and how the goal is to always get things done ASAP. And you really get that feeling of the skirmishes are kind of all over the place. I expect the anime to take some liberties with these scenes, just because I don't see them wasting an opportunity to make pro heroes look good. I just don't see that being how they're gonna tackle these scenes when it just doesn't make sense to not elevate the material. But I do think Crust and Mirko, it makes sense to stay on that topic, but I could see us switching specifically to get for one chapter to get an idea of what was being set up in other places, and cutting back to this just because I kind of see a potential big reveal happening here that we aren't prepared for, whether it's similar to All for One's reveal, or if we get, as somebody speculated in one of my last streams, the idea of potentially Ujiko doing a blockbuster serum from the superheroes, Western superhero, so he finally turns himself into this kind of beast that can fight with an injection. Which is the idea that Ujiko might not have that seems a little far-fetched to me. So I kind of expect him to have some kind of last stand, and for sorry, my mustache is poking my nostrils. I'm expecting some kind of last stand from Ujiko here, either whether it leads to him directly getting away, or it leads to him doing something that it turns out he can fight and making some kind of commitment that way. But yeah, that's what I expect for the next chapters. Guys, make sure you share, subscribe, the whole deal. This is how YouTube works. Looking forward to the next chapter. Unfortunately, that's 2 weeks from now. Jujutsu Kaisen stream next week, more than likely. Just going to pop that off in the morning. ECS going to say goodbye.
Bye.
Promote. All right.
That's a good time, by the way. That's a good time. Right in the middle of the day.